Count the minutes until I see you in the bright sunlight of Earth again, Mona. I hope you still think of me a little as I do of you. Back to work. She's forgotten you. Everything's forgotten you.
There is an updated report from surveillance. The previous prisoner appears to be alive.
Huh? Morning. What's your name? Mine's Theodore.
I was supposed to be alone here. I don't want to talk.
Well, no, you'll never be alone out here. It's too many voices.
You're actually insane, aren't you? What do we know about this guy's history?
I don't have access to specific information.
Why you're here?
I was framed for murder. What about you?
Terrorism. 2 innocent humans on a prison planet.
It's certainly odd. Talking to an actual Earthling is causing me to remember things.
Don't move! You're a human convicted of murder, Nathan. They don't usually get those things wrong.
Why are you messing with me?
She's trying to destroy the memory of us. I'm all you have, dear.
Just listen to me now, you know who you think I am.
You have to do this for us.
Do you think that I'm actually who I think I am?
Yeah. So real quick, I just, it's been like 9 or 10 years since I had him on this podcast. And when I saw that he had this new project, I jumped on it and he was fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a talented man.
Yeah. You are too.
Well, it depends on my director.
Yeah.
It all depends on how you photograph me, and it depends on the dialogue. It all depends on the environment. Depends on how I wake up in the morning.
Well, since you brought it up, I guess I can guess that this experience was one of the more positive ones then. Good mornings. You woke up in some good mornings?
I loved it, man. It was a grueling. How long was the shoot? Was it 18 days?
About 18 days, yeah.
Days nonstop.
Yeah.
I mean, I fell in love with it as soon as I read the script, man. I mean, I was all over this thing. I couldn't put it down, you know. I mean, it was just written so beautifully. I mean, this guy just felt to me like it was just all love and heart, even after he's been in solitary confinement up in a distant planet somewhere, 15 years, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to describe. I just felt just a connection to the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah.
Jeffrey, remind me, I should know this actually. Oh, yes. So you wrote this.
Yeah.
He did write it, yeah.
As well as directed it. Is this your third feature film?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. It's such an interesting, I always like this and this type of project, but it's kind of like high concept, low tech in a way, even though it looks really beautiful. But I mean, it's, you know what I'm saying? It's like people could spend hundreds of millions on a story like this, but you don't need to, when it's all about, it's a character study. It could have taken place in a prison, on Earth, or
Elias and Brianna were our special effects.
yeah. Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just, like solitary confinement. And can you imagine just being convicted of a murder that you believe you didn't commit and sent off to a distant planet somewhere in the universe? I don't know how far away from Earth it is, but to spend the rest of your days alone, to think about what you've done, and to have on top of that, have, be required to do hard labor for 14 hours a day. So the idea that this guy just created this whole world in his mind about his past life on Earth, how he lived 15 years, is just, I don't know if I would be able to deal with that, man. I mean, I'd like to think that I would have his fortitude, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how people do it. I guess you don't know until you are in such a situation, and then like everything, your survival, whatever survival mechanism,
Yeah, you know.
just kicks in. It's interesting. I don't want to get too far away from this subject, but well, from the film specifically, which by the way is called The Silent Planet, and opens here in the States on the 7th. That's as we speak tomorrow. We just had I mean, it's going on in the States is a illegal strike from correction officers. This is I understand getting a little off topic, but they all left. They, so understaffed, and they're not allowed to legally strike, but they did because the prison their main thing they demanded was being able to put prisoners in solitary confinement for extended periods of time. That was because they feel unsafe. But this is already something we know is a form of torture. You know,
I mean, these guys are in prison. I mean, what some of these guys in solitary confinement can't talk to anybody. I mean, they're just like
yeah,
solitary confinement, 30, 23 hours out of the day that you're stuck in the cell.
right. Yeah, it's unimaginable.
And is there such thing as rehabilitation? I mean, you just kind of like stuff somebody in a cubicle and open it up like 30 days later and see what you've got. And
Hmm.
you think you have like a decent human, somebody who could even have a conversation,
Right.
let figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah, let alone leave the prison and re-engage in the world.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't understand
Whole
it.
kind of for-profit prison system down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the States has kind of got things a little bit backwards. I'm not sure what the prison system is like in Canada, but it's an interesting allegory what you've created. How did this come to mind, Jeffrey? This idea of solitary confinement on a distant planet.
So, I mean, I have a whole, I kind of created a whole backstory for the planet, which I won't get too much into because I don't get into it in the film. I didn't want to, but it just helped to sort of figure out, establish some rules so that I could
Hmm.
communicate and it would make sense to all of us. Um, so, but I guess from what's in the film hinted at least we know is that it's a kind of an experimental project where they're using prisoners to test out new atmospheres to see if they will be suitable for human habitation because the Earth's becoming crowded because of all these OE and aliens who have come, and then it's overcrowded and it's chaotic. um, but really, I'm less interested in like the all the logistics of it than I am in just the sort of, I guess, allegory of it.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
just the idea of isolation and the most extreme form of isolation you can have, being
Hmm.
sent up to another place, like as far away as you can possibly get, and there to be kind of haunted with yourself. So to me, like I think there's actually like a part of me that fantasizes about what living like Theodore. Um,
That's Elias's character. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Being alone on a planet and just, I don't, I think a few days in I would hate it, but in my moments of uh in moments when I'm frustrated with life and everything, it's just a kind of a fantasy to go escape and live alone. So I think that's initially where to get back to the question you asked, initially
Hmm.
where the impulse came from, of this kind of hermit fantasies
I
that I
see.
always had, but never acted on.
But the silence, I mean, it's attracted to that idea of like not only are you on a distant planet, not only are there like very small percentage of oxygen that you can breathe for any long period of time on your own,
Yeah.
you're tethered to a, you know,
An
oxygen,
oxygen source.
and then there's this crushing silence that he talks about. There's like no sound at all. It's like a vacuum. The idea of that. I mean, is there any? I'm sure there's wind up there like there is on Mars. There's some wind, some atmosphere because it's not totally devoid of oxygen.
Hmm.
That was very attractive to me. You know what I mean? What is life like? I mean, even just going like putting on a mask, like whatever it is, and you got to go underwater. That's claustrophobic. The idea of just
Yeah.
just needing, you know what I mean? That's just and to be able to figure it out and try to experiment and just try to play, imagine. I mean, it's a gift. You don't have to go all the way out there and experiment. You can just pretend. But I mean, that stuff was very attractive to me, you know.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry, I'm just hijacked.
Yeah, no, go on.
There's a lot, one little line in it where it's referenced that it is a choice the prisoners make. It's not like they're forced to go to the planet.
Oh,
So I
I
think
missed
both of
that.
these characters, yeah, it's just something she kind of says offhand, so you wouldn't really notice it.
Do you think the Theodore had a choice?
I think he had a choice.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
Huh.
yeah. I think he wanted to.
This changes everything.
He changes everything. Oh
Wait a
yeah.
So
minute.
long ago, I don't think he
Whatever.
remembers any of that anyway. But
Well, and then yeah,
I think his impulse was to like he just wanted to recreate his own reality and not have done the things he's done, which we won't talk about, I guess. 'Cause- well, I don't know. Are we doing
no,
like
it's kind of a spoiler. He's,
yeah.
but there's the things he thinks maybe, and then there are things that he may have
No,
blocked out of his.
The idea of being forgotten, being totally, completely, and absolutely erased from people's memories. That's awful. I
Yeah.
mean, I didn't know that I could go back, man. I could have gotten back anytime I wanted.
Yeah.
Shit. All right.
Yeah, there's that, yeah.
So it wasn't a life
Also
sentence.
the question for me of like if you go uh if you leave everything behind and you're never going to see a person again who ever knew you,
Yeah.
does it matter who you were, or is it possible to kind of
Reinvent yourself.
disappear into the ether of the past and not matter anymore?
Oh God.
It could be really, I mean, a chalk. You if you were a science fiction writer, which I suppose on some level you are now, you could create, all sorts of stories from this idea. That's I guess why other science fiction writers do that. They kind of create this world, and then there's just so many stories and so much history you have because you're the god of this universe you created.
I love his writing, man. I just his writing is just so silky. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's hard to describe, but
Uh-huh.
it's easy to read, and the characters are full, and
Yeah.
the dialogue allows you to play and bring your own imagination. But the dialogue is not stilted; it's just very driven by character, and it doesn't, and it's just rich, just
Mm,
felt
rich and silky.
Yeah.
Wait, hey,
hard to
Elias,
describe.
Sounds like
I love the way you talk about it.
brand of almond milk.
Well,
It's
so
actually
No, but
Elias,
thank you.
what
That's very nice of you to say, Elias.
very nice. And what do you look? I guess you look for these elements, right? When you're looking at somebody delivers a screenplay to you, or rather a script, right? You're looking at for those things, right?
you want to be grabbed. Like, I mean, as soon as the first page, I mean, in the script, it grips you. So he creates an environment that's very attractive and very interesting. And there was one I always look for an in some area in a script that, like, there's a line that he says, am I giving away too much by the dinner scene?
No,
The
I
dinner
don't
scene.
think so.
Well,
Well,
just explain that another voluntary prisoner comes to the island, right, in the form of a younger woman.
there are some lines in the script that really moved me, and they have nothing to do with anything other than they just moved me. You know what I mean? They just got me more connected to it. Like, there's a line that he says where he says, "I was waiting for someone to like I was waiting for a guest to show up because he's got a bottle of something and, that he's had for 15 years." That really just, I had to put the script down. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to anybody else, but that line in itself was just so full of love and desire. I felt, and just purity.
Mhm.
It just makes sense to me.
Mhm.
And so you look for moments like that of the ins in the script that really touch you, that you could just kind of hang a performance on. That doesn't mean it's always going to evolve that way, because it's always going to change on the day. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but
Well,
the
how do you
fact that
handle something like that when you're, when things are shifted, as
you take a deep breath, man. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot of times you show up with a lot of intent and a lot of some ideas, And at the end of the day, you got to let it go. You know what I mean? You got to like go in as soon as you show up on the set and you got your scene partner there. You want to be present for them, and things are going to change. I might have some ideas, but you got a living person next to you. You got to deal with. You know. So she was beautiful. She was brilliant and ready to work. So I had my work cut out for me. I had to show up a game every day because she just blow you off the screen, and that's
Yeah,
great because if you have a partner that pushes you, that challenges you, you're grateful for this. You know what I mean?
sure. Yeah, and the project's going to turn out like really great. That's Brianna Middleton who couldn't join us. The scheduling just didn't quite work, but she was terrific in that.
She is. She is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
What
amazing.
is this
Yeah.
planet or world Zaox that I keep hearing about? Jeffrey, Zaox.
Xeox.
What is that?
Xeox isn't in, I wonder where that is. Oh, maybe that's in my director's notes.
Maybe.
Um,
Yeah.
so,
It's not a laundry detergent. It's
um,
Yeah,
so
that's
when
fun.
I was a kid, I used to tell everybody I was from a planet called Xeox.
Really?
And my cousin Danielle would tell everybody she was from a planet called Capilia. Um, and as I made my first short films in university, I decided I liked the planet named Capilia better than Xeox. So my first short film at university was called Capilia is Fading in Pools of Stale Beer.
Oh my
And
God.
ever since then, Capilia is mentioned, I think,
oh yeah.
maybe in offhand somewhere in almost every film. In this part, it's just subtle. It's the Capillian star system that they're.
Mm.
So I kind of retired Xeox and took on my cousin Danielle's uh, planet name because it just kind of sounds better.
That's funny. The Zaox sort of sounds like very 1950s science fiction, where Capilia might be a little more like 70s, 80s kind of,
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
you
Well,
know.
Xeox, I guess it kind of sounds a bit maybe like Zardoz or something.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Um, Again, the name of the film is called The Silent Planet. It's written and directed by Jeffrey St. Jules. Elias Koteas is one of the two main main actors in the cast. Um, and let's see. Yeah, the production. I like the contrasts. High concept. And pretty like straight. You shot this, I know, in Newfoundland, right? Newfoundland, rather. Um, but it probably wasn't too, I'm guessing, expensive to shoot the film, right? You can't have had that big a budget for the film, right?
No, we did not have that big of a budget. Yeah, so it's important to find the right location.
Yeah, it really did. Was
And
it friendly place? Was it a friendly to shoot a
oh
film?
yeah, for sure, it's a very film friendly province because first of all, like it has beautiful scenery.
Mhm.
Um, it's also a lot of stuff surprisingly is shot in Newfoundland, and there's a lot of support for it. So there's actually a pretty solid industry there with the, but yeah, and it's just a really beautiful place. And it's sort like you just everywhere you drive around there, you just come upon some beautiful cove that if it was in any other province, it would be like the biggest tourist attraction. But there, it's just there's like two people there.
It's
Wow,
beautiful province.
Yeah.
very nice. And
Like
so,
that.
and it was
Finding
at. I'm sorry, what?
finding the right place was yeah, because we
It's
wanted to shoot
key.
on
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So did you, you must have just, what kind of, I should ask, what kind of conversations did you have with like you had a production designer, right? An art director. What were your conversations like in terms of what you were trying to create, in this?
Yeah, so I was talking about this the other day as well. I was just thinking about this, like, because if you're shooting something on the budget of like Dune, then you
Yeah.
find the places that fit your vision. Um, but when you're working on a low budget, it's almost like you find the places and build your vision around it. So once we found the tablelands, the sort of orangey
The
rock area,
tablelands. Yeah.
that kind of like set our look, and that everything was sort of designed to work off. And this kind of rust colored feeling to it.
Hmm.
So yeah, with the production designer, we're referencing a lot of old like sci-fi paintings, like these Chesley Bone style paintings and some old Soviet sci-fi films, and trying to get something that had a bit of a retro touch to it.
Yeah.
Because we really wanted this sort of 70s tactile feel to it, but a little bit playful, uh, and um, and also lived in, like,
Yeah.
want to feel lived in and not sleek.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about like, yeah, films like Logan's Run and maybe the original Planet of the Apes, like in terms of
Yeah.
using these landscapes that, and really well. Yeah, though I'm really strongly recommend it for folks.
You're in
Where can people see the Silent Planet?
You can see it in any major stream, like video platform where you get your movies, Apple TV, well, I guess Amazon and all
Mhm.
those places.
Oh, that's good.
Starting March 7th, yeah. And if you're in Toronto, you can see it theatrically.
Great.
Sadly, well, at least maybe there'll be some other places opening up.
So it's only opening up theatrically in Toronto.
As of now, yeah.
So
So
now.
we'll see. We'll see what happens.
And
There's
where
long
was
lines. Yeah, go
What's
ahead.
that?
Long lines around the corner. You'll be waiting to go and see the movie. It's going to have to expand to meet demand.
Yes, yeah. It's just going to go crazy from there.
Well, I have a number of friends in Toronto, so I'll definitely encourage them to check out
Nice.
Yeah.
the Silent Planet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. I say this not infrequently when something like, or I should say that when an opportunity like this comes along, and Jeffrey, it was really nice to meet you too. And I hope we can do this again on your next project. But Elias, you're one of those actors who, since I was introduced to you probably in an Adam McGoyan film, maybe other places, but it's you're one of those actors who is always preoccupied me and made me curious, So this is a very fulfilling just experience, And so glad I have this platform to do something like this and meet somebody like yourself,
Thank you so much. That's beautiful. I appreciate that.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for making.
Add, because I
Please
this on
do.
my own, but not with Elias, that I just felt really lucky. First of all, that he agreed to do it, but just like that it meant something to him. Because I felt like that's really special. Like it's not just, it just felt like, oh, this actually means something to you, and that's like, how lucky can you be, to have somebody like Elias, and
I mean, I'm still
not
he's
treating
still,
it just like a job, it's a
I've reached a point in my life where it can't just be about the job, and I feel very blessed by that, where I'm not really, I could pay my mortgage, which I feel very blessed that I can still do.
Hmm.
But it's like, if the movie, if the script moves me and they want to work with me, I feel very blessed by that. So
Yeah.
I owe it to the production. I owe it to Jeffrey. I owe it to myself to bring as much of myself to the thing as possible. I don't always succeed on the day you show up, and sometimes the character's not there, so you kind of use as much whatever you can do to cover those spots. But anyway, I just thanks for the kind words, brother. It's great meeting you too.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, and you did it here too. You're fully present, and it's terrific. It's really makes doing this type of stuff worthwhile.
Great.
So thank you both, and much success.
You too, brother. God bless, man.
Thank you.
much, Adam.
Thank you.
It was nice to
Thank
meet
you, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.